So as far as disciplines go, for me, I'm going to share my experience, my strength, and my hope. I think for me, I think getting your body into shape, I think your mind will follow pretty quickly after that. That's something that I recently just started. I've always kind of had fitness in my life, but I had other things in my life that were a distraction to where I couldn't do that. And I've just noticed recently when I've really got discipline, these guys, we're all got the Apple Watch and we keep each other accountable as how many calories we're burning a day. And it's been like life changing for me as far as keeping myself accountable and doing that. And I can think more clearly and all kinds of things. And so I would say that's a big thing. When you're a new agent, a big discipline is the phone. I mean, you heard Trey say it, you've heard everybody say it. You got to get obsessed with that phone. Like that, your cell phone making dials is going to make you a lot of money in this business. It's going to help you protect a lot of families in this business. And just like you said, it's like I've been doing this for 6 years. I still get nervous when I'm about to dial. You know, like I like to run. I still fight myself in my head to go do it. But once I get my running shoes on and I put my ear pods in and start going, I got some tunes. It's the same thing with dialing. And then, you know, you start getting that momentum going and it's really the same thing. But if you can just get obsessed with the phone and create that discipline and don't let anything step on your dial time, because somebody that's been doing this as long as some, you know, Trey and me and Paul, and they've been doing a lot longer than me, but I know how to pick out creative avoidance like that. It's like, hey, well, I'm going to do it, but I got to figure out what the products are. It's like, no, you don't. You need to dial. Like, no, you don't. Like, you don't need to know all this stuff, because when I first started with this, I had this like vision that I was going to be meeting with like doctors and these very like elegant people that were going to ask these questions that I didn't know the answers to. That's just not the case. Like, they're just everyday, a lot of them on Social Security, like they're just everyday people. And I was just getting in my head so much about it. And then when I finally went out and did it, and then I called Paul or Trey in my in-home, I was like, dang, this isn't that bad, you know? But I feel like the illusion of fear that you play in your head is a whole lot more in your head than it actually is in reality. And the only way that you can figure that out is by action. You know what I mean? And so another thing is, and I'll get a little personal with you guys, what's holding you back in life? Like, what is it? For me, it was alcohol. Drank way too much. I drink one beer and then I want to drink 27 of them and then I don't stop. You know what I mean? And I know that's not applicable to everybody, but what is that for you? Is it too much social media? Is it too much? I mean, what is it? Because you're going to have to give that thing up if you want your best life. I had to. It was, I remember Sean Mike telling me one time, I came to a meeting and, you know, he came over to me and I had like a swollen face because I was drinking too much the night before. And he goes, hey, Ben, you still drinking? So I did what any good alcoholic would do. I lied. And I was like, no, man, I ain't been drinking, you know, I'm good. And he goes, you know, you're never going to reach your full potential, Ben, if you don't stop. And I wasn't ready to stop that day, but I heard what he said to me. And so that's kind of played out in my journey at FFL. And now, you know, it's been almost 3 years since I've had to pick up a drink. And it was from these little things that Sean did and different people in the program did to be able to help me with that journey. And like I said, that may not be your problem, but what is yours? Because we all have dysfunction. We all have something. And you need to learn how to let go of what's holding you back. For me, it was that. What else can the association thing, that's a big thing for me. When I first started this, I didn't believe in myself a whole lot. I was a server. My business acumen wasn't very good. I had a lot of doubt. I had a lot of fear. But one thing I did do was I did it anyways. You know, regardless of how I felt about it, regardless of, I just continued to do it even if I was scared. And like people that say, oh, I'm not scared to dial. It's like, oh, really? I am. Like, I've been doing this a while, and there's like fear there about it, you know? But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And like they say, if you get yourself in an environment of other people that are doing the same thing as you, like, what helped me was I listened to Paul get on the phones, and he got beat up on the phones. And I'm like, dude, Paul gets beat up on the phones too? Okay, so then everybody gets beat up on the phones. That made me feel better. You know what I mean? I'm like, if he's getting it and I'm getting it, then, you know, I'm good with that. You know, and the Zoom dials or whatever environment you're in, you have to get around people that are going through the same thing that you are so that you can kind of feel normal about the fact that you're getting your butt kicked. When I dial at my house, I'm just getting, you know, I'm in my home office and I'm getting my butt kicked and I'm just getting depressed by myself. You know, it's just kind of like discouraging, you know, but if I get around other people, I'm kind of like, okay, I feel like I'm part of the team. Another big thing is I think it's good to be competitive without comparison. That was a big problem for me. Like, I'm competitive. Paul beat me at ping pong like 3 months ago. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. That's why I came tonight, so I could rematch him actually. But what I'm saying is like, I was comparing to myself to people in this business that I had no business doing that with. You know, like a guy named Grady Polson, great guy, love him a lot. He came into this business after I'd been here already 2.5 years, and he just smoked it. And so what I started doing was like, damn, what's wrong with me? Like, he just came in that quick. What am I missing? I wasn't missing anything. Come to find out, Grady had like 2 other businesses that he did before this. It was like an energy drink business, a software business, and a few other things that he had got his butt kicked at. And then when he saw this platform at FFL and the way we had it set up, he just took off. He just took advantage of it because of all the failure that he had with those other businesses. He was ready to go when he got here. I actually had the privilege of seeing him. He got his, Shawn Mike was going around to a lot of grand openings, and they asked his parents if they wanted to say anything. And I remember Grady's pops. I can't remember his name, but he said, I know a lot of you people see that Grady just took off real quick here, but I wish you could have seen him fail for the last 10 years like me and his mom did before he got here. And I think there's a lot of power in that. Like, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And if you're trying to get successful in a week or 2 weeks, like, forget it. It's not, I'm not saying you can't have a little bit of success right away, but it's gonna take some time, And so whether you're doing this part-time or you're doing it, I don't know what I served at Dave & Buster's down in Ontario Mills. You guys know what I'm talking about? So I did that for about 7 months until it didn't make financial sense for me to go there anymore, because the most I would walk with in tips was like $200. I could write a children's whole life policy for, $25 a month, and I cleared what I was gonna make. So I waited until that point. But I think what a lot of people do is they see the upside potential and they don't know what their learning curve is, and they jump in prematurely, and that's when they get smoked. And so I would really kind of try to wait, like, get your learning curve down and figure this out while you got some income coming in, if that's your case. Now, it all depends on what your bills are and stuff like that. And I would get with whoever brought you into the business and maybe go over that. But I got this from Trey. Like, if you have like 3.5, 4 months of your bills paid and you could pay your lead bill, I would say that's probably a fair place for you to, be able to go into this full time, because there's a lot of moving parts to it, especially when you're growing an agency and being on the phone with agents while you're trying to dial and do all that kind of stuff. So